intro today.
Movie
You're also on mute, my friend.
I know you can unmute yourself and do that.
Yeah. Welcome back to Movie Leftovers. Intro free, just a countdown. I love it. We're live on twitch.tv. We're live on Twitter, I think. We're also live on YouTube. Welcome in.
Yes. All the main ones.
Yeah, dude. How are things? We're doing Brick today.
We are doing a brick and we're drowning slowly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's an excellent lyric and a nice little slide in there. I appreciate it. It's almost time topical, too. This is what, 2004, 2005?
2005, yeah. And that song also came out. Well, I graduated in high school in 99, and that song was out during high school. So,
yeah. That's amazing. What are your early thoughts on this film? Because this is one of those movies where I've watched enough times that I decided I would go back and do some internet research on interviews of the stars of this movie around that time, just to get sort of some perspective. And I'm a humongous Joseph Gordon-Levitt fan.
Yeah, me too. He's great.
And yeah, he, in a nutshell, and I won't go on too long, but he kind of was like, one for the money, two for me, or two for the show kind of mentality when he went through this. And he really, really, really wanted to break into like doing an art house kind of Sundance type of indie film. Yeah. Coming off this commercial success of doing, Third Rock from the Sun and a bunch of other stuff that he was involved in. And what lightning in a bottle was this film? Like, I mean, he seemed to really enjoy it. It didn't have a very high budget. This was kind of Rian Johnson exploding on the scene as a director and a writer at the same time.
This was his debut.
Yeah. I love this film.
Wild. Yeah. This movie is very much of its time. Mm-hmm. When we were thinking about, like reboots and remakes and spoiler, all that kind of stuff, man, it's tough because this thing is so, you're right. It is lightning in a bottle. It's kind of like, I would say it's almost like Boondock Saints in that way.
Yeah, very much.
You really can't replicate this.
Yeah.
That said, yeah, this movie, for what it is, for when it is, it's phenomenal. The other thing I would say about this, though, I think if you showed this to like a teenager now, I don't think it would hit.
No, I don't.
Because I think you had to grow up in that era for this to make sense.
Yeah, it would be a very, very niche film that I feel would have a light cult following later on if it was redone today, unless you change some major factors, which is going to be part of my take on this film as we go through the show.
I mean, this movie came out at a weird time too. Like, you also had, this was on the back of that Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, when Baz Luhrmann's kind of like stylized, the old dialogue piece. I think there's a ton of inspiration there. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a little bit of that in there. So yeah, man, this one is great. Don't get me wrong. It is great, but man, it is so much a time capsule.
Oh, very much. Yeah. And I like the whodunits a lot and the kind of noir-esque film style, even from like super old black and white films, the Dick Tracy style characters, I love that shit. And one of the things that I thought, as far as this being a gem, I didn't know that Rian Johnson hired family to do the score. It was like his cousin or something.
Yeah. But it was such a family thing to put together.
Yeah. And the noir elements were all there, which I think is what he was going for. But I love the way they sort of poke fun at it too. Like, if you think about it, there's a scene with his mom in the kitchen, like looking for the right kind of juice to provide her son's friends. And then there's like a desk lamp in the back of the Chevy Astro van for no apparent reason.
Right.
But what I didn't realize, and maybe this will come up in your trivia, is that I didn't know how much Cowboy Bebop was an inspiration for Rian Johnson throughout this film, but it makes a ton of sense if you study it again. And I just finished watching it again this morning. But like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, like his hair looks like Spike, his walk with his hands in his pockets, kind of hunched over the whole time with a slight hunch, and then the camera focus always on the shoes, and then they pan it up, like I was like, fuck, that's where I've seen that before. And I'm not a big anime guy, but Cowboy Bebop is one of the more popular ones, and I have seen a bunch of that. It's very stylistically similar, and I was like, connecting more dots, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Even the way he smokes, like he smokes the
Yeah.
way Spike smoked, right?
Hmm.
So it's very interesting. Even his attitude is very Spike like, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, you definitely once you know the Cowboy Bebop, background is there, then
Yeah.
you see it. I do have the Rotten Tomato scores up there. It
Oh, I guess real quick, you should tell them what this movie's about, just
Yeah,
for those that haven't seen it. I
yeah,
skipped over it.
uh, an entertaining homage to Noir's past that has been slickly and compellingly updated to a contemporary high school setting.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's basically what it is. It is a gumshoe detective mystery, right?
Hmm.
Looks like it was very popular. It's got an 80% on the certified fresh,
Yep.
with the tomato meter, and audience scores even higher than that at 86%. So
Hmm.
yeah, this is a well-loved film. Absolutely. The movie had a budget of 450,000 dollars, which, according to the Wikipedia, was money that Rain Johnson raised from friends and family. Which
Hmm.
that's wild to have
Yep.
to, to just go around to the people and be like, "Hey, I need money," and then they come up with $450,000.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a ton for an indie film that you've never done before that you're trying to break onto the scene with. But this made like what 10 times that amount?
so it ended up making 3.9 million, so close to 10 times. So to give you an idea, the 450 that he raised in today's equivalents would be just shy of $700,000 at 693.
Hmm.
So quite a bit of money. And then that 3.9 million that it made would be close to 6 million today. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Which if you were to put that in terms of like I have this money to buy a house with,
Yeah.
like that's it's a vastly different area of town you're living in for 6.5 mil over the 600,000 that you bought,
Yo,
which
for
is
sure.
still
For
pretty good
sure.
eating. But yeah, holy
It,
cow,
and
right?
what's wild is he was a film student in LA at the time when he made this. This is one of those things that, like, yes, he did it all on his own, but at the same time, man, he came from money to be able to do this. It's
Hmm.
wild. you
Yeah.
know his family owns a construction company, and that's where they had a lot of the money. So it's nuts. He also, I guess, made a lot of connections in film school.
Hmm.
That's where he met Joseph Gordon-Levitt to hire him to bring him on. I'm sure Joseph took a pay cut to be in this film.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He in some of his interviews, he kind of goes on and states that it was like definitely something he wanted to be a part of, regardless of the circumstances. He just
Mhm.
needed to make something that was, as a young actor, a lot more of an artistic expression. And he's like, my head wasn't really in the right spot, but I didn't want to
Yeah,
do another commercial thing or sign another contract that would keep me like we have control of you for 9 months out of every year for the next X number of years to do a sitcom.
right, right.
So,
Apparently, these are based off of some, man, I'm gonna butcher this name, Dashiell Hammett novels, which is like a old school detective film noir
mhm.
type uh, book series, a paperback book series. Apparently, Rain Johnson found out about those by watching an interview with the Coen brothers, and they talked about that as inspiration. And so he read all these books. I guess there's only like 3 or 4 in the series. Just was obsessed with them. What's wild too is now you look at, we have the hindsight of future, right? Because
Yeah.
it's now 2023. And Rain Johnson also went on to do the Glass Onion films.
Mhm.
He's doing Poker Face, which is on Peacock. That's also a detective show. So very much he is the detective guy, right? Like that is his
This
thing.
is a strength of his because I
Yeah.
watched both of the Knives Out films.
Hmm.
Unbelievable cast and really, really fun, twisty storyline that just keeps you engaged through more of a pop comedy type of thing rather than this like darker, edgier noir thing that they tried in Brick
Oh,
early on. But it's way better than some of
yeah.
his massive movies, like the Star Wars thing and all that stuff. It's like if you could just erase that from Ryan Johnson's portfolio and keep him in this pocket, this is the pocket I want to see Ryan Johnson in, because I think when filmmakers, and obviously it's gotten much larger with Knives Out, but when filmmakers have no budget to rely on, this is a note I made, they often have to rely on dialogue and a strong vision for their project. Some filmmakers keep that skill forever, some do not. And I think Ryan Johnson is one of those that kind of, when big studios are involved, things kind of take a turn. So that's
Robert
been my
Rodriguez
opinion.
talks about that. Like sometimes you're more creative if you have less money.
Yeah, you got to keep focused. Deadlines mean it doesn't happen if you don't get it done, But he shot a lot of this film himself, like in the back of the car with the Laura Dannon character. He edited the entire thing, and he edited it in such a way that it kept the movie very snappy and quick.
Right.
And you got to do it. You got to get on those deadlines and stay on them. So yeah, I think Robert Rodriguez is right. That was my observation as well. It was just like, feels like there is no plan B type of motto is the best way to go for some of these directors. And some keep that skill, some not so much.
Right. Fun fact, the guy who plays Dode in Brick has also been in both of the Knives Out films.
Oh, interesting. I guess I didn't pick that up. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in the second one, Glass Onion, he's that random guy that shows up all the time. That makes
Dode. Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, man, this film, people love it. It's got a cult following, but it's people like our age that love it, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I don't hear a lot of the younger kids that, are loving it. It's not one that's brought up in film schools. Right. Yeah. Right.
But I think it should be. I think this is a fun snapshot movie. It does take, upon first watch, I remember the dialogue was tough enough to try and follow the story. I couldn't quite put it together 100% until the very end, scene, which I won't reveal anything, but it's worth the watch. Now, watching it over again, and I've seen this a bunch of times, you just kind of have to get used to the way they talk, and everything is very readable. Like, see, it's not a complex movie. It's not a complex storyline at all. So, for what it's worth, it was just done well.
When I was younger, I thought it was more complex. But now as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see what this is.
Yeah. A lot of drawn out dialogue and very few camera tricks in favor of pushing the story further with no budget than would be all the over the top shit you see in Glass Onion, the effects, the landscapes they shoot in and the sets they have become characters in that movie in a lot of ways. And so for those movies. So yeah.
I feel like this film, though, it really dances to the edge of like where it was so serious, it could have been a comedy. Like it was close to that. It never got over that edge.
Yeah, that's why I like that they kind of took shots at themselves a little bit.
Yeah,
with like the mom and the juice and all that shit. Yeah, you're right though.
I mean, honestly, like musical choices and some of the scenes, like if you had put ska music instead of like their serious music, instant comedy,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, with the exact same shots, the exact same everything else going on, instant comedy. So like it's right on that edge. Yeah. We'll tell you what, let's take a break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about our reboot or sequel pitches and we'll be right back.
Groovy. Sounds good.
All right, we're back.
We are back. Welcome back. It's Movie Leftovers. We're doing Brick from 2005.
Indeed. So do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. I don't have a lot to change on this other than the cast. So I'm in essence to the point you made at the top of the podcast. I don't think this would resonate with a modern audience the way that it was kind of a snapshot in time. I would update it to modern time, but I want a full reshoot with an appropriate budget. The only modifiers I think I would have to the original story and dialogue would be that we need a few more characters to die to kind of push pace and then slow things down in the dialogue long shots that they have.
Okay.
So I'd probably find a way to kill off Brain. I'd kill off Dode and Kara, and I would bring in the police and the school staff. And I want them to have like both the authorities and the Brendan character to be after the same thing, but the police are trying to pin it on Brendan and they keep getting closer and closer to him. And really what I want that for is so I can have them pull him in for questioning. So I can have the town interrogation scene between John Hamm and Ben Affleck type of thing.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? And like have that written in there. So, but complete reshoot, I would modernize things, get rid of the old flip phones and pay phones and stuff that you're not going to find anymore for burner phones and things. But here's my cast. And I don't like doing young actors because I don't know all of the young actors. So I really, really have to like research for hours to figure out what they've been in and if I think it stylistically works. So we'll just go kind of out of order. The vice principal guy, I want to put Don Cheadle in there.
Okay. That's a good call.
One of the bulls, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I think he might be a touch old for this, but the magic of makeup, I don't know. But Tug, the bully guy, I want Taylor Lautner in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Taylor Lautner would be good.
Okay.
So for Kara's character, I would cast Joey King. She was the girl from Bullet Train. I don't know if you saw that recently.
Yeah, I did. I like
the main villain. Yeah, so I would have her in as Kara.
Okay.
For Dode, I would put Jaden Smith in there.
Oh, okay.
So I think that would be sick. Laura Dannon's character, and I love the original actress that played her a lot, but I picked Camila Mendez. She plays Veronica on Riverdale.
Oh, okay.
So I would have her as the Laura character. Kingpin, I would cast Timothée Chalamet.
Of course.
For Emily, I would put Millie Bobby Brown in there.
Oh, all right.
And then for Brain, I would have Tom Holland. And then going back to Riverdale for Brendan, I would cast Cole Sprouse because I think he would be perfect for that role.
Yeah, I could see that.
So we're gonna make Jughead Brendan, but so that's actually 2 Riverdale characters, but I like both those actors. Okay, so that's about it. I really like the dialogue, and to cap it all off, I would have Ryan Johnson reshoot it and try and modernize the stuff just to keep the original creative line where it's at. I would just want to be more in control of the casting and kind of see how things go. But I think the storyline's awesome. I think modernizing it into the place they put it in, similar to the Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, is great. I really like when people do this. I have seen a movie or two where it didn't really connect, but they were really trying for it. But more often than not, I think this is cool. Plus, I like the over stylized, whether it's through dialogue or through period pieces. I kind of enjoy that because it just takes you, it arrests disbelief and takes you into an imaginary place. You know you're there, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my thing. I would like to keep the storyline, like I said, as close to the original as I could. So that would be my cast and a reshoot, but I would mostly keep things the same because I think this is just a perfect puzzle piece film that just sits in the landscape very well. So
okay. I would set mine also. I would do a sequel. I would set it in modern times, right? And I would do a different main character.
Okay. So
very
similar, being the same storyline, just years after, days after, that kind of thing?
No. Completely new cast, completely new scenario. But this would be the son of Brendan. So
got it.
The son of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. But this kid would be played by Jack Dylan Grazer, who was the kid from Shazam. He's the kid with the crutch who's kind of a smartass.
Yep.
I think he's perfect for that role.
Nice.
And what I would do is he's going to be an American student who goes to Europe for foreign exchange. Okay. And he finds himself in some hot water over there, but he's a fish out of water, right? He doesn't know all the players.
Yeah.
That's his element, right? And what I would do is I would kind of base this off the whole Amanda Knox situation where someone gets, and they've got to solve the mystery, and maybe he's being blamed for it, you know?
Sure.
So he's trying to prove his innocence. So I would use that as my template for him to build the mystery around.
Little Amanda Knox, little Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Stuff. Sure.
Yeah. I would not explicitly say that he is the son of Joseph Gordon-Levitt until the very end when he calls his dad and says finally that he's coming home because he's cleared himself, and then that's when you do the cameo of Joseph Gordon-Levitt on the phone.
Oh, I like that. So who are we just going to leave who the mom is to the imagination? Is it like Laura Dannon
Yeah,
had a
we're
kid
not going to
before she went
say.
away?
It's
We're
just,
just not going to say.
yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point. It's just
Okay.
the kid's got to get himself back to America. Got
Yeah.
to get back home. You know, they've taken his passport. They've, you know, they're about to arrest him. The whole deal.
So then
he's,
I would write a sequel to your sequel and make a trilogy, but it would be basically Taken, except for with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, there you go.
And he has to learn a special set of skills.
Exactly. Well, he did learn them from Batman in that one movie. So
right?
So he's good. He's good. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would do. I think Jack Dylan Grazer is perfect for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your femme fatale that you always have in these kind of films. Probably do Zendaya.
Sure.
She seems like perfect for this too. You know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really didn't think about. I'm not good at coming up with mysteries. Mysteries is not my strong suit for writing. There's so much you have to think about with the mystery, but at least that's the fundamentals of what I would do. At least,
yeah, I do enjoy mysteries and trying to think up scenarios. I wouldn't call myself talented at any kind of writing, but I definitely enjoy this as a challenge to write in. You know, I would definitely take a shot at it.
You have to start with the end and then work your way back and put it all into play.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a story in alliteration based off the punchline to a dad joke, and it actually turned out pretty good.
There you go.
Good.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter though, so
yeah, I would have like, instead of just him being the one detective, I think I would also do like a rival to him that's like a wannabe cop guy. You know, that's investigating the crime straight and thinking that he's already guilty, and so I would have a rival to him.
Sure.
So that character, I don't even know who would play that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody, someone that could play a real jerk. I don't know the young actors.
Yeah, I could see. I don't know. Like the more I think about it, the more I start thinking about like some sort of bizarre take on Sherlock Holmes. You know, it's like two young detectives that hate one another rising to the top.
Oh, you know who would be good. Now that I think about it, there's that show Superman and Lois where he's got the two sons. They had one of the kids recently leave the show. The one that left, I forget his name.
Okay.
He would be good because he kind of looks like a smarmy asshole. So,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. So I think he would be good.
The one actress I've always had a crush on my whole life is in that series as well, Emmanuel Shrieky. She was known for like horror movies, and then I think she played the main character's girlfriend in Entourage or something for years. But I think she plays gosh, I don't remember.
Is it
she
Lana
plays somebody
Lang?
Yeah, maybe. I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like she's so cute.
The funny thing about that show is they have coded Lana Lang to be Latino or Latina. And so it's really forced because like nothing about it is her being Latina until like every now and then they drop a mija or it's your quinceañera.
Yeah.
Just so slapped on there.
Right. It's just taped over the top.
Yeah.
And not so innocuous.
Yeah. It just they're trying, but they're not. They need to do little subtle things, like if she's got coffee, a little pan dulce on the side. You know,
sure,
something.
Right?
Yeah, make it softer. Don't just. Yeah, we forgot.
Crank up the authenticity. Don't make it an afterthought. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I like the idea that you're taking it in, and I think it would be fun to make that almost like a franchise of movies. You know, see what happens after that, but. Yeah, for those of you that haven't seen this before, definitely give it a spin. I think this movie is really cool. It's not a difficult watch. It is a lot of fun, and it's kind of neat to see how they knowing how they shot this. We were talking off camera a little bit before the show, and they started and finished this thing in 20 days. and they were using sets like a high school in like the town that Ryan Johnson lived in Southern California on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, the Penn's house, they had a very limited time to pull permit and shoot in there. And I think part of it was probably guerrilla shooting because that house was to be torn down.
Right.
So like it's very, very cool. You know, the way the sets kind of worked out and the lighting kind of seemed to stick. But in a 20-day span of time, that's an incredible achievement for what this film became. And give it a spin. I give it a thumbs up for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I would recommend it as well. It's a lot of fun. But yeah. So for our next movie,
yes, sir.
It's my turn to pick, right?
It is. Let me grab my notepad here. So
I will have to send you the link because I cannot find it anywhere else.
Man, you find these movies I can't get a hold of.
Well, this is on YouTube and it's free on YouTube. This is going to be as obscure as fuck AF, right?
All right.
So for those who are listening, man, this is going to be a hard one to find. It is on YouTube. We're going to watch Newsboys Under the Big Top. This is a film that the 90s Christian music group, the Newsboys, made.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is it's a doc?
No. They made a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. It is an actual movie. I used to have the VHS of this film. I cannot wait to see your reaction to watching this thing.
Wow. Yeah, this is gonna be one of those pulls you back in time things for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I was like trying to figure out an associated act like Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith and
yeah.
Who else was in that era, man? POD?
Oh God, DC Talk and
DC Talk, yeah.
Audio Adrenaline.
Still a good band.
Yeah,
I mean, even upon re-listen. Oh, Jars of Clay. Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, you got these on the ready.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to any of these. They were kind of like the Copeland of contemporary Christian rock music, right?
Copeland is Christian rock music.
Well, they were on a Christian rock label. Were they a Christian rock act? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they were. Were they? Yeah. Okay, so who would be their equivalent? The Plain White Tees?
God, who's the one who sings Cars? Snow Patrol?
Oh, Snow Patrol. Yeah, that's a pretty good association.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. There was well, that brings us back, huh?
Yeah, right.
Long
totally
time
dating
ago.
us right here.
Dude, so okay. So Newsboys made a movie. Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check this out.
What's wild is if you look up the makeup of Newsboys now, it's completely different than this film.
Wait, are they still a touring act?
They are still a touring act.
Wow.
They've got Michael Tate from DC Talk as now their lead singer.
Okay.
So like it's a mashup of like early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s Christian bands are now one super group. It's kind of wild.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah. So Newsboys Under the Big Top. I will check that out on YouTube. You can check us out on
this
Twitch.
Thing is such a train wreck. I can't wait for people to watch it.
And wherever else you get your podcast.
Indeed. Indeed. All right. Thanks everybody for listening.
Cool. Thanks everybody.
We'll catch you next time. Bye.